All right, AEW Dynamite starts off with Will Ospreay versus Brian Cage. I'm not gonna speak about this match. We all know who was gonna win this match. Will Ospreay picks up the victory. After this, you end up getting Lance Archer. He comes out. Well, he was already out. He ended up interfering in the match, but that didn't matter. He attacks Will Ospreay. Then you get Kenny Omega, who took forever to make a save. Like they was already attacking him for like a minute, like a good 2 minutes. Kenny Omega finally ends up coming out for the save. He comes out with a chair, attacks them both. Then you get Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. They come out, attack Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, and they stand tall. This segment really didn't hit for me. Also, it was very awkward and weird because during this, they started playing music, but they didn't stop attacking and they didn't transition to the next segment. Then they cut the music off and then they attacked them again, played it again. It was very weird. This went on way too long. It was very weird and awkward. It was like they didn't know when to stop, or it just went on way too long. It felt like the beatdown should have ended sooner, but it didn't. Then there was a moment where they was leaving the ring, and then Will Ospreay decides to put his body on top of Kenny to like protect him when they was leaving the ring. It was very weird. It was very awkward. But we know the end goal of this is to build towards the Grand Slam match, the tag team match with Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay versus Konosuke and Kyle Fletcher. I don't have much interest in that match really because I feel like I know how it's gonna play out, and plus the story that they're telling, I'm not really interested. I was interested in the Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega story, that promo. I was interested in that, but the the Don Callis family stuff, I'm not really feeling it. I have no interest in it. We'll see how it plays out. Who knows? Maybe they can prove me wrong, but I really thought this was boring. I didn't really find it entertaining. Plus, like I said, I don't mind predictability. I said it, predictability isn't bad at all. It's only bad when it's a boring story with a very predictable outcome. If you can make the story entertaining, I don't really care about a predictable outcome. But this right here was just boring and predictable. Afterwards, we end up getting Claudio versus Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, this was, oh my god, this is so dumb. Okay, you end up getting interferences from Wheeler Yuta and John Moxley for Claudio to pick up the victory. Okay, look, I get the whole Jeff Jarrett trying to become world champion thing. Even though it's dumb, I can understand it. Why is Claudio, someone who is second in command, I'm assuming, in the Death Riders, needing John Moxley and Wheeler Yuta to beat Jeff Jarrett of all people? Why? And I'm supposed to take this storyline seriously. This is your number one faction who's supposed to be taking over the company, who's supposed to be this dangerous group, and you're telling me that their second most dangerous guy outside of John Moxley, is struggling and needs help against Jeff Jarrett of all people. And this is the story that I'm supposed to let play out. Like, no, it needs to end. It needs to die. Okay, it needs to go. If if this is what it comes to, where we're having Jeff Jarrett is able to, that Claudio needs help against Jeff Jarrett of all people. Like, we cannot be serious right now. I'm not even the biggest Claudio guy, but even I think this is stupid. Like, Claudio, really? I understand if it was Wheeler Yuta that needs help, but Claudio of all people. Like, Claudio needs help against Jeff Jarrett. Like, we can't be serious. And then afterwards, we end up getting MJF attacks Jeff Jarrett. So they're still continuing that storyline for whatever reason. I don't understand it because I don't understand the end goal with it, because it doesn't benefit no one. Because either way, what, MJF, what, beats Jeff Jarrett in a match? Like, that doesn't really elevate him. That doesn't make him more of a heel, I guess. And then what, Jeff Jarrett is going to beat MJF? Like, I don't understand that end goal. Like, this whole Jeff Jarrett thing just needs to stop, but it clearly isn't going to stop. It's just whether or not is Tony Khan going to be dumb enough to actually put the world title on him. And with the way he's booking these shows, I wouldn't be shocked that he actually does do it. After this, we end up getting Ricochet versus AR Fox. Ricochet wins. I'm not going to speak about the match because I feel like that's very obvious that he was going to win this match. But afterwards, though, Swerve ends up attacking Ricochet because Ricochet was about to use the scissors on AR Fox, but he ends up coming out, pulling him out the ring, ends up attacking him. He was about to hit the swerve stomp, but Ricochet ends up pulling AR Fox, holding the scissors towards his head, similar to what he did to Prince Nana last week. Uses him as a hostage to prevent getting attacked, and he runs away. Their match next week should be great. Interested to see who wins that match, because I'm gonna be honest here, I love Swerve. I wouldn't, well, let me not say, because I was gonna say I wouldn't complain if he wins, but he kind of needs to lose. I'm gonna be honest. I love Swerve, I do, but I'm gonna be honest. This storyline, I don't see the purpose of doing this story if you don't have Ricochet win the first match. I'm gonna assume that they're gonna have more than one match, because I don't think this feud. I'm not saying this feud shouldn't end on one match. They should have multiple matches, but the first match should have Ricochet winning. If you're gonna do multiple matches, Ricochet has to win the first match. If Ricochet loses the first match, this whole story was dumb. It was no reason to do this story. If you're gonna have him lose the feud, fine. Even though you could argue he shouldn't lose the feud, but if he's gonna lose the feud, that's fine. But you gotta at least have him win the first match, and then he could lose the rest. But the first match, Ricochet should most definitely win. So we'll see how this plays out next week. After this, we end up getting Jay White versus Wheeler Yuta. Jay White ends up winning. I'm not going to speak about the match. This is just a build towards really him and the Death Riders. Him wanting his revenge on Wheeler Yuta, costing him multiple times. Costing him for the World Championship, and then him, Wheeler Yuta, attacking him last week with the Death Riders. After this, though, the Death Riders comes out, attacks him. Then you get Rated FTR. They come out. And then this sets up a match on Collision with FTR versus Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta. Yeah, I just don't care because I just don't care because, man, Jay White, we already know Jay White isn't winning the World Championship. We already know Jay White is basically like filler. He's basically like a third wheel in this, which he shouldn't be. But he's basically a third wheel in this feud, because we already know the main feud is with Adam Copeland and Jon Moxley. So whatever they're doing with Jay White, we just know this is just really filler, and he just feels kind of like irrelevant. He just feels like he's just, I wouldn't say wasting space, but he kind of just feel like he's wasting space, because like, why are you here? It's like, why are you here? Like, we know the main people as of right now is Adam Copeland, Jon Moxley, and FTR. What Jay White is there is just like, why are you here right now? And it shouldn't feel that way, but the way they're booking the story, that's the way it is. I'm probably going to watch the match on Collision to see if it advances a story. But yeah, I just don't really care. But then we get the main, well, this isn't the main event, because I'm not going to mention the main event, but it's the main event to me because it was easily the best thing on this show. Well, actually, it wasn't the best thing on the show. It was Ricochet, because I'm thinking of Collision. Mariah May ends up cutting a promo. She was getting interviewed by Renee, but then Renee was mentioning Toni Storm, mentioning how she, revealed being back to Toni Storm, but then Mariah May kind of crashes out a bit. Then she ends up talking about that she ends up mentioning, her betraying Toni Storm, using her to get to the AEW World Championship, mentioning her making her bleed, mentions beating her all in, and that she ends up saying that you could cross play or role play as whatever Toni Storm you want to be, but the ending remains the same with her standing tall, basically. This was a really good promo, solid work. Grand Slam, it's very obvious that Toni Storm is going to win. I don't know how I feel about it, because I don't want to say it's the wrong decision, but I also don't think it's the right one. Because now I will say, I watched Collision. I watched the segment on Collision. I thought the segment overall was good, even though I think the ideology is very stupid. But the segment overall was good. I'm just very mixed on all of this, because for one, Mariah May is extremely talented. I love Mariah May. I thought her promo on Collision against Toni Storm was really good as well. It's just her booking is terrible. With Toni Storm winning the AEW World Championship, I feel like we're just going backwards, because I don't understand where she goes after beating Mariah May, because the women's division is so bad in terms of booking. I don't know what you do with Toni Storm at that point. What does she do? What does she do with that gimmick? I don't understand, especially as a babyface of all things, because I don't know who she would face as a heel. Like, who does she face? Like, I just don't understand where do we go from here. It's like I just don't get it. And I'm not even gonna mention the main event, to be honest with you, because the main event was just dumb, stupid, waste of time. So yeah, I'm not even gonna speak too much. I could easily rant on and on about the show and about the things, but I'm not even gonna go into a rant, to be honest, because I'm extremely tired. But yeah, overall this show was very boring. It was bad. But you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.